Sweet. All right. So this is what I do, guys. I read it about once a week. I try to visualize to engage my emotions, and then I keep defining it. Like that back half was all I edit, and it helps me step into the future. MDA is your acorn seed that becomes the tree. And then I love this quote from Napoleon Hill: through some strange and powerful principle of mental chemistry, which he has never divulged or revealed, nature wraps up in the impulse of strong desire that something which recognizes no such thing as impossible, and there's no reality such as failure. And it's just like a constant process. I'm going to push past the definition of freedom. We can do that on another workshop. What I want to move into is more the scope number 4 to gain clarity, life goals, the actual X's and O's that we're going to be doing. So how does a 25-year goal become a weekly to-do? I'm going to show you guys. It's through a process, and it's amazing. You have big, hairy, audacious goals, and it'll drip into your weekly to-dos, and this is how you start setting your weeks. But just so you guys know, so you guys should have got that template. I'm going to show you guys my life goal list. But I set up the same template for you. And the main thing this has shown me how to do is pull the future forward. Like, for example, the Vreeland team, our goal was to manage 2,000 units by 2028, but we just got done through our annual planning. We're at 800 right now. The team thinks we can double 3 years. And so that is how you pull the future forward. So I think we'll be at 1,600 by, 2027. And, originally we thought we'd get to 2,000 by 2030. But so by your mind seeing a target and then pulling it forward, like John, when we get into your targets, I think it's going to be very interesting how this concept of pulling the future forward. But once your brain sees a target, it starts looking for ways to get it done. And then once you break it down, these targets don't seem as drastic. And so if you're interested in this concept, get The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson. This is a combination of Dan Sullivan, EOS, and The Circle Maker, all kind of combined into one system. The fast movers, I love these pictures, but a couple of the fast movers in our community use this. Scott Saunders, every time he uses the facilities, he has his toilet targets. Same with Stephen Grigg. So the first thing you do is you categorize your dreams, your targets into these categories. This is how I do it. This is how Mark Batterson says to do it. Family, spiritual, influence, physical, financial, business. Notice financial and business are last. If you guys have not read 10X or listened to 10X, it's easier than 2X. It's phenomenal. You can get this on Amazon, the 25-year framework. It's 15 minutes to get through this book by Dan Sullivan, but it kind of lays it out. And so here's an example. The other thing about 10X, like John, have you read 10X?
I started it, yeah.
Okay, so when I was reading 10X, I read it last spring break, and I was like so frustrated. I was like, there's no way I can 10X. And I was like getting overwhelmed. And then inside the book, Dan Sullivan says, hey, if you're nervous about 10Xing, just put it out as a 25-year target. So I pretty much did that. I haven't put in my life goal list because it was a little too overwhelming for me, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to commit to it. But what I suggest people do for their 25-year targets is just 10X what they're currently doing, just to get a round down range. So for example, here's some example of my 25-year vision. I want to celebrate a 50th anniversary with Susie. I want to give my children a book of principles, like Ray Dalio's book Principles. I'd like to build an orphanage, get 4 million in my vault, create a charitable trust with a life insurance policy. And then business goals would be to create a dream center like Mark Batterson has, and Ebenezer's coffee house. It's like a compound with like sports and business, and it's in the middle of a blighted area, but that would be a 25-year target for me inside St. Louis. And so then you ask yourself, to get those 25-year goals, what can I do in the next 10 years? And so to do a 50th wedding anniversary with Susie, I first got to get to 25. I want to take each kid on a mission trip. We built 3 houses in Mexico so far. I want to get that up to 10 in the next 10 years. Spend a week in Florida. And then this is a good one. I go to a game at 80% of the major league ballparks. So I used to live in Seattle. I never want to go to a Mariners game again. It's the worst place to watch baseball. So I'm not saying all the ballparks. And then I really don't want to visit San Francisco and its current blight. So I'll probably avoid those 2 stadiums. There's 30 stadiums, so I can avoid like 6. And so this is how you pull the future forward. So 3-year vision, what would have to happen in the next 3 years to be happy with the results? So if there's 30 ballparks and I want to get there in 10 years, I got to get to like 9 baseball parks in the next 3 years. So, and then this is an example of pulling the future forward. I originally had an anniversary in Italy as a 3-year target, but last year Susie and I were able to go and knock it out. So the next target's the Caribbean. Originally I wanted to remodel our backyard. We knocked that out last year. So I'm just showing the ways to pull the future forward. Physical for me is the purple belt in BJJ. I'd really love to go upside down on a wakeboard. That one would be a crazy goal. And then after you get your 3 years, you start knocking it down to 12-month objectives. The way I use this in the really powerful to get a spiritual goal done is Susie and I had only been married in the at the courthouse. And so 2022, our main goal, family goal, was to get married in the church. And so we just broke it down, 12 months. We set a date, and then it started dripping into to-do. So for example, once we set that goal, could I do in the first 90 days? We had to set the date, get the church paperwork, send the invites out to the family. Then Q2, reserve the reception room, set up the party, buy the outfits. But this is all to get to my vision of being married to her for at least 50 years. And then 90-day targets become 30-day checkpoints. 30-day checkpoints, you break them down into weekly to-dos, and weekly to-dos drop out of that process. I'm going to skip this 1 point thing. And then these eventually become your daily actions and daily routines. But so my morning routine is to pray, meditate, read, work out, and knock out my one thing for the day that makes sure everything else will become easier or irrelevant. And there's tons of people in this community already doing. Two guys on the call today, but it was Rise Up 2022 when I saw Chris and Harold knocking out their morning routines. I was just like, this is awesome. I love this community. High Performance Habits is a great book to read as far as how to build out these daily actions. But since this is a workshop, like, you guys are going to love this. I know you guys have seen that before, but we've never done before is put it down on paper. So this is, you guys should have this life goal list, right? So now what I want to do is I want to take time. So we're going to do this. Here's how you play the game. Right now, just write out whatever you guys have as targets. They can be 25 to 1-year targets. We're just brainstorming right now by category. Once you guys get them down, then we'll go put them by time. So John, what was one of your targets? Was certain amount of assets by your 40, right?
Yeah, 3 million.
All right. So you would write it financial, 3 million in assets plus the cash flow goal. And then we'll say, hey, we're going to put that in your 10-year time frame or 3-year time frame. So does that make sense? What we're going to do now?
What was the influence goal?
Whatever, like however you want to influence people. Like, so not everybody necessarily will have an influence goals, but this is just how I break it down for me. So like influence goals for me is like how many people in Rise Up Mastermind, stuff like that. People you have direct influence with. Any comments or questions on this part?
So are you putting that in the chat then, Jimmy,
Yeah, let me get that for you.
Okay.
Like Harold, influence goals is where you want to take your YouTube channel in the next 10 years.
Okay. So yeah, it's kind of funny. I was like, oh, Julie's goal and your goal are going to intersect, because one of the things that when she had a photo of some place in St. Louis of where she wanted to do the rescue shelter was this area that was a blighted area in St. Louis. I don't know where it is, but she could tell you.
Probably North City.
Probably so.
And just to get maybe the creative juices flowing, I will just read off a couple mine. And so if it's green, it's me, we've already done it. And so I don't, it's kind of fun for me. Just so you stay in the game. But we got married in the church, take a team to YWAM. We remodeled our backyard, celebrated an anniversary in Italy. I took Maria to a mission trip in Guatemala. Influence goals, build an orphanage, buy a vacation home that other people can use, like people from our parish, make a movie, publish a book. Like, we're going big, hairy, audacious goals here, like going upside down on a wakeboard. I want some crazy stuff in here. Then you get into your financial goals, then specific business goals, and then travel goals. I know a lot of people in this group will have a ton of fun with this, but the kids want to go on an African safari. I want to go on a Viking cruise, one of those things down the Danube. And then all the stuff on the bottom's every place Susie wants to visit. So this part of the exercise should be the most fun.
So there's 2 tabs here by category and by time.
Yeah.
Are we filling it out in both of them or?
No, just by category right now.
Okay.
So like the other hack for this is I have a note in my phone that's just I want list. So like, for example, we went to Branson this fall and like had an awesome time with the team. And I'm like, I want a lake house. Like this is what I want to be able to do. So I just threw that in my I want list. Then it goes into family goals. And then I decide where the time is. But in the brainstorming process, especially, I don't want to worry about how long it's going to take.
Okay.
Like, here's how this works a little bit too, guys. I just remembered I want to walk the Grand Canyon rim to rim with my kids.
Now we can always come back, right?
Oh, let's do 3 more minutes. How many goals you got out there, Harold?
Well, I just have to make a call. So I'm like, okay, somebody wants to sell quick. So I'm like, okay. How many goals? I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think. I don't know.
So Mark Batterson, and then that's why I got these little numbers here. Mark Batterson says you should try to, and this is a living document, guys, but Mark Batterson says you should try to get 50.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I know I'm not like, I'm sure if I heard others, that's why I'm like, I almost want to hear other people's because I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Ooh, we can move on to that. You guys want to move on to that?
Yeah, just move on to that. 'Cause
Okay.
otherwise I'm like stuck. Like, I'm like, all right, so now I need to like hear somebody else.
All right, we're going to try this on the call. We're going to go through everybody pop off with their most intriguing target. Harold, you get to start.
Okay, set up a nonprofit for women's shelter in St. Louis.
Boom. Rebecca, are you able to come on? Are you able to take yourself off mute?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you got? What's your most intriguing one?
Oh gosh. I'm gonna go eat sushi in Japan with my family.
I like that.
I don't know if it's intriguing, but it'll be fun.
I'm intrigued by that. I don't like sushi enough to travel an ocean though,
Yeah, that's true.
but that's why this is everybody's individual target list. John Brooks, what you got?
So I want to own 3 vacation homes. One is a lake house, one's a beach condo, and one's a mountain cabin.
I like that. You're fun playing this game with. Where did the template go? Leah, what do you got?
I'm gonna say one of them is agility dog competition.
Putting your dog through it? Nice. Emily, what you got?
Well, kind of like John Brooks, I want to have some lifestyle assets. I want one in Mountain Green that's really close that I can enjoy on the weekends, and I want one in St. George. Also, my daughter was born in England. My son was born in South Korea. I want to take them each to their birth countries.
Ooh, that's cool.
That's
We
kinda
were
cool.
Air Force.
So is that on your, by the way, Emily, is that like a family goal for the vacation property? Is that where you put it?
Oh, actually, I put that under travel,
Okay.
but they were babies. So
No,
they
I
were-
mean for your vacation house. I'm sorry, for your vacation houses.
Oh,
That's what I'm.
Financial, but that's, I mean, if you're Peter, that's family goals too.
Yeah,
So,
right. I just was curious where. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't make any difference.
Chris Ronan, what you got?
Can you hear that? Yeah, I'll repeat. Wasn't on speaker. Yeah, I want to build a log cabin house in some acreage. Just a big goal of mine.
Nice.
No,
Anthony
no.
Signorelli, what you got?
I want a second home in Clearwater, Florida.
Nice. So now we have it by category. Now it's time to start dividing it up by time. So Emily, the birthplace visits. What's your time? When do you want to get that done by?
I was kind of thinking like after they each graduate high school. So, they're 12 and 14, 4 to 6 years out.
Okay. So I'd probably throw that in the 10-year category. So then you would, just copy and paste that into there. John, where'd you go? I can't find, there you are. I kind of want to play. You mentioned yours earlier from your MDA. You want to play, you're next up on pulling the future forward. So this is how I play the game. What was your target again?
For which one?
The one you listed in your MDA. I think it was assets.
Oh yeah, 3 million by age
Okay.
40.
And so I know it's only 7 years from now, but we'll still put in the 10-year category, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't there 3 million in assets. And I think there was a cash flow target.
Yeah, 30,000 from my W-2 and 5,000 from my business per month.
Okay. 30K a month from W-2.
Yep.
And then for your side hustle, how much?
5K.
Okay. So I'm going to break those 3 up.
Yeah, per month for that. Yeah.
Okay. So, how many assets you got right now?
6 investment assets.
Do you know what their target, what do you know what their value would be?
It's somewhere around 700 or 800K.
Okay. So to get to 3 million in 10, where do you want to be in 3 years? And you said it's currently worth 700K.
I think I'd want to be at 1.8.
Okay. So 3 years from now, you want to be at 1.8 million in assets, right?
Yep.
All right, now here's some fun. You can assume a 5% appreciation in North America, right? So your current portfolio is 700K?
Sure. Yeah.
Oops. Let me do some quick math. So next year it'll be worth 735. The year after that, 770. All right. So what you currently got will get you to 800, right?
Just an appreciation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to be at 1.8. So you got to get another million in assets, right? In the next 3 years.
So if I got 2 assets a year, I guess each one would have to be worth 150, 160K.
So you're trying to make, and for the new purchases, we won't anticipate appreciation, but 1 million divided by 3, and you don't necessarily have to linearly plan, but you can for this.
Yeah.
So you need to make 300, you got to get 330 K a year. So then
Right.
we would say, hey, in the next year for business, I'm going to put this, really it's finance. So what do you want your target to be? What do you think you can knock out in a year?
Well, my thought is buy 2 properties a year right now.
Okay. So to
2
hit
to
your
3.
so to hit your 333, what's your house has got to be worth?
About 167.
Yep. So now you have your target for that for asset acquisition for the year for 2024. What do you want to knock out on this in the next 90 days?
Well, we're doing one right now that the rehab should be finished on, and so be closed on that by January. And then once I get the money back out, let's see, 90 days would put us in March. I think I could at least identify one property.
So
if
you
not
need to
close.
are you doing a Berkey right now?
Yeah.
So you need to refi cash out of Berkey and identify next one, right?
Yep.
So that's end of Q1, Q2, all the construction, Q3, you refi out again, Q4, you purchase that second one. That makes sense?
Yep.
All right. So we just went from 10 years to what you got to do in the next 90 days. You see the process?
Yeah.
I-
That makes
I personally love this process. You want to hit the next one?
sure.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So 10 years from now, you want to be making around 360K a year. You want to be dropping 30K a month. Where do you want, in relation to that target, where do you want to be 3 years from now?
And yeah, and this is tough too, because like I'm like my brain is always like, what's realistic in 3 years? Is that how I should be thinking, or should I be thinking what's needed in 3 years to get to 7?
I would, so when you say what's needed, I'm assuming you're thinking linearly. I would
Mhm.
say think realistically, but do not think linearly.
Okay.
Do you mind me asking what you're taking down per month now?
Yeah, let's see. It's about 17.
Okay. So you're looking to double your income, 2.5 times your income in 10 years.
Right.
Okay. How close you think you can get in the next 3?
I think I could probably do 20K.
Nice. So then you'll have the back 7 years to make up the next 10, right?
Yep.
Okay. What do you think you could get to this year? And what is going to be the biggest difference from you going where you're at now to 20?
Like, well, what'll make the most difference?
Yeah. What's the lever you need to pull?
It's going to be really, aiming to increase the bonus. And part of the issue right now is I had this conversation with my manager actually a month ago, is I'm kind of capped out on base salary based on my grade. And so like the only levers to pull are equity, because the company grants equity, and bonus. And bonus, I'm already kind of, 80% of the max they give, 80, 90%. So I could tweak that a little bit, but then I think it's really equity that I would need to try to get additional equity grants from them.
What do you got to
And
do to do that?
That's going to come from, I guess, meeting my manager's targets. Like I need to find out what their targets are and how I can help with that.
That's
right now. Yeah.
That's just a simple to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I need to find out from them how I can add the value.
Dude, you just phrased that perfectly. So it's not like, hey, give me a raise. It's how can you add value, which then gives you your next probably annual set of targets, right? Like, do you do annual planning with them?
I do. Yeah.
And then since they do have an equity base, do they ask you kind of what your targets are?
Yeah. But the problem up until now has been, the KPIs I measured at actually aren't very well defined. It's one of those things that I actually hate about the company generally, because they don't really define good targets for people to hit. It's very fuzzy because they like to cater to like people and be like, oh, you're doing your best, right? So
Yeah.
I almost feel like me and my manager need to figure out like good concrete KPIs that I can then say, like, if I meet this, can I expect, a bonus in X amount?
Yeah. And then you acting as an entrepreneur, are you able to like have that candid conversation?
I think so. I just hesitate doing it. I haven't done it because it feels, when I bring up money, right, it feels greedy. So it's got to be done in the right way.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be done the right way. So this is what we do on our team. So we have our corporate 3-year picture, right? And then we introduced this, but so Christy, is it uncomfortable to talk to your boss about what you want?
I think in the very beginning it was, but not anymore, no.
So yeah, John, I don't know if like conversation one, I'll tell you personally, when I started asking our team these questions, it was a very clunky conversation.
Yeah.
It was almost as awkward as like the first time I tried to kiss a girl. Like it was like this, you know, it was definitely a first date. So as the relationship builds, but these are the entrepreneurs on our team, and I love knowing where they want to be in 3 years. So then I can go to work as a team and help them get there. So we have a, you know, we have a leader picture inside of our team. So I don't, you got to phrase it the correct way, but I think you can definitely have that conversation.
Yeah. And I've had conversations with her before about my general career aspirations. And typically what I've told her in that point is I'm not looking to climb the corporate ladder up. You know, I told her, you know, I care about how much I'm getting paid, and I care that the work I do is of value and it's something I enjoy. So she knows like those are my priorities. I guess it's about asking to see, is this even, you know, this is what I'd like to make. Is this something that's even feasible for where I'm at, or where would you suggest, you know, I focus to be able to get to that point?
Or yeah, like how do I get there?
Yeah.
I guarantee you just asking that question will get you to 20 faster than 3 years.
Yeah.
What kind of role are you in?
Finance, treasury.
Okay. So for your 1 year target, as far as income, can you have much influence on in the next 12 months?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
All right. So what do you want?
Well, we're having a conversation in January actually for my self-assessment of how I've done over the past 12 months. So I think that's a perfect time to bring it up.
What do you want to set for your target this year?
Like in the next 12 months?
Yeah. And if you don't know, till you have that conversation in January, that's cool too.
Yeah, I got to have that conversation because there's also some macro level stuff where the business is kind of cutting budgets and projects and stuff. So
yep.
I don't know even where they're going to be, right? It's kind of out of my control from that perspective.
So if I was playing your game, running your sheet, I would just be like, have comp combo.
Yeah.
So do you kind of get the process, how you play?
Yeah.
It's just a series of questions like, hey, what can I do to get this? What can, you know what I mean? And it opens up so much for your brain.
Yeah, this is great.
What about you, Emily? Do you want to play?
I don't know, because some of my goals relate to people I serve on this call.
Well, let's use one. You want to do let's use one not of somebody on this call.
Just in any of the categories?
Sure.
What about goals that are for you, other people, like your family?
That's in the family goal.
Okay, we'll go with something safe to talk about. I want a cabin in Mountain Green, a lifestyle asset.
Okay. How long do you think it's going to take you to get there?
I haven't thought enough about it yet. Let's
Um,
say 3 years.
okay. So cabin, 3 years, family goal, right?
Well, I put it under financial.
Okay.
It's an asset. It's going to generate income as well.
Okay. I'll throw it in their business because I don't have the cabin. All right. So what can you do in the next 12 months to make that cabin a reality?
Look into doing some cash out refinances.
How much
Got
you
a
think?
lot of built up.
Like my Branson house, I believe it'll be around $1 million asset. How expensive do you think this will be?
Ooh, that depends. I don't know if we try to partner up on it. I don't know. Let's say 700,000.
All right.
It's hard to find things less than
So 700K, how much you gonna need to put down?
20%. That's 140.
You think you'll do 20% or 25% down?
Oh, I always like to do 20% down.
Okay. Are you gonna partner with people or are you gonna take this down yourself?
I would actually like to partner.
Okay. So 50-50?
Yeah.
All right. So really you need 70K to take this asset down, right?
Plus closing costs that are
Call it 80?
no joke. Let's say 5%. It gets smaller as they get bigger though.
Yeah, we'll call it 80K, right?
Oh, that's kind of high actually. 5% would be 35,000.
All right, we'll call it 75K. So what do you need to do in the next year to make that a reality?
Well, I was saying 3 years out, right, to get to it.
Yeah.
Well, I am an agent in Utah, so I can set up the alerts, my search criteria to be watching. I need to go through, and now that rates are kind of getting, I know on the one hand, it's bad that they're coming down, but on more competition, but on the other hand, it makes the numbers look better. I guess I need to decide which properties I could cash out refinance.
How long do you think it'll take you to do that? Is that a 90-day target?
Yeah.
All right. So you'll know which houses to cash out refi on by Q2. What else do you need to get done next 12 months to make this target?
talk someone into being the partner.
You want to do that? Okay. So that might take the whole year, right?
Yeah. My family think I'm crazy to invest in real estate. I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to fix toilets. They don't get it.
I gotcha. All right. So to make this, what else you need to do in a year to make this a reality?
Oh, do like the rental analysis of what income it can generate. Actually, Peter, if I spill a secret, he's working on a killer pro forma for lifestyle asset properties. He's putting tons of time into it, and I know he'll let me use that. And you guys do.
I'd say that's a 90-day target, right?
Yeah.
That ain't going to take a whole year.
Yeah, just if he's done with it. Yeah.
What else you got? When do you see yourself making the decision on which house to use?
Well, it's kind of prioritizing whether to go for this before I get some more single family homes lined up. So it's like I need to do some financial analysis to decide where in the chronology it should happen. Because I'm still working on getting some more single family too.
Okay. So this will happen too. You'll have targets bump up against each other, and then you got to prioritize.
Yeah.
So this might be really the reason this is a 3, because I think you could find a way to throw 70 grand together, right? This is a 3-year target, I think, because you got other priorities in place.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple things. There's like, I want to pay off my HELOC. I want to get some more single families. I've got 2 under contract in Florida that if they ever get completed, I've got to close on them. So
yeah, and so this is also how the game's played is like, hey, you got to also prioritize versus other targets. Because you could probably throw 70 grand together in 90 days if you had to. But it's like, okay, I have other priorities that I'm going to slide in between this.
Right. So it's like single families, lifestyle asset.
Right. So guys, we've kind of gone 20 minutes over, but what I hope you guys got out of this is I hope you guys can take this life goal sheet, have some fun with it over the next, throughout the holidays. I always like to go through this and ask myself all these questions during the holidays. I have a ton of fun with it. The more you do it, the easier it'll get. But do we have any other comments or questions? You guys are definitely the survivors hanging on here for 2.5 hours. So I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a great holidays with your family. And if that's all we got, that's all we got.